Hey guys, it's Mike and BA from Rollin Into Retirement, that channel where a couple of RV snowbirds take on RV tips, campground reviews, food and wine, photography, and why do you keep tapping me like that?
You've forgotten. We're no longer RV snowbirds. We are now houseless.
That must mean we're full-timers. Stay tuned. Well, welcome back and thanks for watching. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate the support of our channel, and if you do like it and it's your first time visiting, please don't forget to subscribe, smash that thumbs up button below, and hit that little alarm bell so you'll know when it's new videos come out. So as Betty Ann was tapping me on the shoulder in the beginning, we have become RV full-timers. We are here right now at Butterfly Camping Resort in Jackson, New Jersey, because we've sold our home.
Yeah.
And it was in the planning stages for the last 2+ years or more. We knew RV snowbirding was fun, but it was leaving our home empty for 6 months. And what would happen is, you know, we'd come home and, you know, we'd just look at each other and say, wow, we just tossed all this extra money down the drain. One thing I know we both don't really like, the fact of living full-time. We like to travel on our own. We like to go on long trips. We enjoyed the snowbirding in Florida for up to 6 months. But we really would like to have a home base in some area, and that would allow us to have a home base and then kind of like leave and take that long trip whenever we want.
For the last 2 years, we've spent the winter in the Vero Beach area and really enjoyed it a lot. We took the time, though, to look around to see if that would be an area we'd like to settle in. We went to south as far as St. Lucie West. We went out to the west coast of Florida, tried that out for a little bit of time, and even to the Lake Wales area that we probably will revisit as we go back this year to see if that might be a good spot for us to buy that sticks and bricks kind of home.
Yeah, all the options are open for us. The one thing, as I said, the one thing we want to do is have that one home base, so then we can just leave when we want to and go wherever we want to and come back to it. You know, everybody talks about the heat and how hot it is in the summers here in Florida. Well, we know that's true. We just saw a report last night that they said the heat index in the Vero Beach, Sebastian area was like 106. So, but again, having the motorhome allows us to say, hey, you know what? It's too hot. Let's just go jump in the motorhome and head up north, head up west. It's the sky's the limit for us.
So this year, when we finally got home in May, we decided that we were going to pull the trigger and put our house up for sale.
Our house of 33 years, mind you.
That's very true.
Lots of memories.
Yes, lots of good memories. We contacted a realtor and figured that, you know, we'd have the summer to pack up and get everything in working order. And the house sold very quickly, and so that put our timeline very short. And we really worked hard all throughout June, July, until August to get ourselves prepared to move into the motorhome.
Right. You know, one of the things was it was like mid-June, and we put the house up for sale, and some people had told me, you know, there's lots of people that are wanting to get out of the city, so don't be surprised if that house sells. Well, the house sold, and we got our price and then some. And it was a crazy 2 months. We're going to go over that with you just a little bit as well. But from making visits to the county dump, calling in visits to Goodwill, putting stuff up on Facebook Messenger, not Facebook Messenger, Facebook Marketplace, using apps like Let Go and Nextdoor. We were able to sell some things, give some things away, and till the final parts of packing and moving, and boy, that was not the easiest thing in the world.
Not at all. So we highly recommend, if you're planning on doing something like this, that you start early and get rid of all your excess stuff that you really don't need. We decided on using a pod for our mode of moving, and it was a lot to get down to the point where we could actually get one pod.
Well, so there's a story to that as well. Now the pod, the costs of a pod are certainly much cheaper than hiring a mover. We looked into hiring a mover that would do both the pod, move it down, and deliver it, and we were getting quotes up from $8,000 to $10,000. And remember, we lived in a townhouse. We're not in a 6-room mansion. So one of the goals was to try to use one pod. We hired a mover that actually turned out they were really very good, but all they really do is pack. You know, they seal things up, they pack, and they put the things that you've done on the truck as well, or on the pod as well. But they were insisting from the inventory, and now they did with the pandemic, they did a virtual. I walked around with the iPhone and FaceTimed. So they came up with a day and a half of work to pack, and at least a second pod, whether it be the same size, full-size pod, or a smaller one. Now, unfortunately, one pod going to Florida is $2,300+ from where we are. So I wanted to try to do whatever we could to pack one pod.
First thing we did was to try to get ourselves organized, because that's the teacher side of me. And I created a spreadsheet that we could use to keep track of all of our boxes, so we kind of had an idea of what we were going to put into each box and where it would eventually be going when we got to a new house. We ended up with at least 100 boxes, and that didn't count the plastic tubs that we packed, the soft bags that we used to put in clothes and things that were tucked into the pod. Suitcases, we used our suitcases also. Anything that we could pack so that we could get as much as we could into the pod. And that meant giving away a lot of things and getting rid of things that you never thought you would get rid of.
And one of the cool things you did was you created that spreadsheet on a Google document, Google Drive document, right? So then that way we were both able to share. I was upstairs packing. I might yell down, "Did you type in another number yet?" But this way, all I had to do was refresh the Google Drive, and I could see she typed in number 68, and I could just use 69. It was a really cool way to do it. And with that document, when we get to our new home, we'll be able to do like a search. We tried to type in the descriptions. If it was kitchen, we put kitchen. If it was office, we put office. So this way, if we did a search, we could do that and see where they were. But these guys put in 100+ boxes. As Betty Ann said, they put in the clothing. They made use of every bit of room possible. They took the bags of clothing. You took some clothing, and we put them in garbage bags and tied them up, so then they could stuff them up above different parts of the boxes.
Which also served to tighten up the pod.
Yeah. They have to tie these pods every 4 or 5 feet. You keep tying things up to support them, because when they move the pod, and I'm actually going to put like a little video at one point right here of how that pod works. Just a little bit of movement going there. The guy delivered the pod, brought it into the driveway. He was able to actually, it lifts up, you'll see in the video, it lifts up off the back of the truck, and then it he just drives that pod wherever you want it onto the driveway.
Yeah,
You do have to pack it properly to make sure that the heavy weight's in the middle so it doesn't back up and down.
Right.
And you also have to make sure you tie things up so it doesn't, anything doesn't fall into the front door and you won't be able to open up the door of the pod. So then once we were able to pack everything we needed in, and we did make it into the one pod, it was done within half a day, so we saved quite a bit of money there. Once that was done, we were left with things in the living room, couches we decided not to take. Again, it was cheaper to not use a second pod and just go buy new furniture when we get to wherever we're going. Why spend all that money to ship old stuff, right?
Right.
But now we were left with things either to drive over to the dump, and I was on a first name basis with the guys in the Monmouth County dump. They kind of knew us already every time we went over there. But we were really surprised. We tried to give things away. I mean, give away nice furniture, nice serving tables and things. We called Goodwill. Goodwill would take certain things. Yes, they did take a lot of the stuff that we had, but the heavy duty stuff, I mean, certain things people just didn't want.
And no one would come to pick it up.
And no one would come pick it up, and of course part of that was with the pandemic as well. So the bottom line was we had to call 1-800-JUNK, and you'll see I'll put a little video right there of the 1-800-JUNK men coming to take away what was left of some of our lives there. Getting a little dramatic, but
Yeah.
but it was, after 33 years, interesting to see that drive away. And then the last few days was just packing and cleaning, and the closing on the house, which, thank gosh, it was just went so smooth, and we were very happy to see that went like that. So now, one of the advantages to being RVers was we didn't have to go and run out and buy a house right away. We placed our motorhome about a week before closing here at Butterfly Camping Resort in Jackson. It's a nice campground. We're going to do a walkthrough, and there'll be a video in the next week or so on our usual campground reviews and walkthroughs that we do, but on Butterfly Resort. We have our good friends Gary and Maggie are staying with us right over there.
Yes.
If we get a chance, we'll grab them in a video and you can introduce you to them. They've gone through everything that we're doing now. They've done it 2 years ago, so we're kind of following in their footsteps. But being here, then we are now trying to pack in things without going overweight. We're going to, we'll get ourselves weighed, but and if we run into some situations that we have too much stuff, we'll figure out something. We'll store it or we'll ship it. We'll figure it out. But it's nice that now the closing is done. We're sitting here relaxing, and the next step is my RV Trip Wizard specialist here will take our favorite app, RV Trip Wizard, and actually you started that yesterday, and we're going to start planning a trip. I think September 8th we'll be heading down south somewhere on some way on the trip, but the eventual end up would be Florida.
Now we'll continue to make our way down to the southern part, ending up in Florida, back at the Sunshine Travel RV in Vero Beach. We do have an agent, a real estate agent, and we'll contact her and let her show us around and see what's available out there. The good thing is that we don't have to rush. We can stay in the RV. We're very comfortable, although maybe a little bit more crowded than the last 2 years, but this will give us the opportunity to make the best decision for us.
Yeah, and honestly, when we decided to do this, we had already spent 2 winters RV snowbirding in this coach, and so we kind of know what it's like to spend time in it. So it's not like a culture shock to say, oh my gosh, I moved out of my house and now I have to live here. We kind of know what it's about. And we hope you're going to follow us on the trip down. We are definitely going to do the review, as I said, about Butterfly, but then stay with us. again, as I said, please subscribe and hit that alarm bell if you haven't done so already. We are going to do walk-arounds to any new campground or resort that we stop in on the way down, and maybe some other fun things thrown in as well.
Never know.
So again, thanks for watching, and enjoy the ride.